All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello. Good evening. Happy Friday night. If you're in Europe, happy Sunday. What time? What day is it in Europe?
Saturday.
Saturday. Happy Saturday night.
Morning.
Morning. Happy Saturday morning.
It's very early in the morning, actually.
In the morning, yeah.
Yeah, it's be like 4 or 5 a.m.
Wow. So if you're watching from Europe, you get a shout out. So shout out to you Europeans.
From Korea.
Yes. Don't ignore them.
Happy
Australia.
Saturday. Korea or Australia, happy Saturday afternoon.
Happy Saturday afternoon.
Yep.
In Australia. Make sure you pet a kangaroo today.
You know, there's an Australian still in this tournament where someone's on an Australian flag. See, the problem is everyone does weird names. I don't know who people are in this tournament. It's called like another SC2.
I do not know.
Yeah. Anyways, we're in a round 16 match between Top and Guitarcheese. Guitarcheese from the Americas. Oh shoot, is this the Chinese or the Korean Top? Because there's two of them.
I think it's the Chinese.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
the
so,
Korean
too.
Top, I think he went to play League of Legends or something.
All right. So
From
this
what
is
I remember. Not
wait,
that that's
no, but the Chinese Top plays Protoss. Doesn't he?
Oh gosh.
I don't.
Okay.
We need Enders. Enders, help us out here. And someone. Oh, actually, you have to add some in chat because they're in a 5-6 minute delay.
Let me think. Let me look it up real quick. You.
Anyways, this is round 16.
Tell me about their openings and tell me about CVT on this map.
Before that,
Okay.
breaking news.
Breaking news.
Somebody has just made the top 4.
Ooh.
It is FXO Tassadar. Earlier we said he was NS Neo Hosio, but we lied because we're foolish.
That was like I was trying to go for the crowd cheering there.
Yep.
It didn't really work, I don't think. I tried. Well, you're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to say Axel Toss was a great effort.
It was a great effort.
Thank you. So
FXO Tassadar.
he's in.
He's in.
To WCS America Challenge League.
Jumped. He beat. He was against Aphrodite from Star
Dude,
Tail.
you get so unlucky. You
And-
put every tournament you play in, the guy you lose to goes on to win it.
Well, yeah. I mean, if they weren't good enough to win it, I wouldn't have lost them. Right?
One of these days, Nick, you're gonna have your moment.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Anyways, so Tassadar, he didn't drop a map the entire tournament, and he went 2-0. Like he cheesed pretty much every single game, 0-7 minute games in the finals
Right.
against Aphrodite. He's
Yeah,
pretty,
that's true.
I mean, that's what he does. He's a very aggressive player. It's kind of known for that. So he's through. Poor Aphrodite. She made it very far. She made it to the round of 8. Played some great games, but unfortunately fell to Tassadar in the round of 8. So she will not be in.
So I think it
WCS
is.
America.
I think you're right. I think it is the Korean Top. That's
Okay.
strange. I must there was a grouping of Koreans that I guess I associated him with it, but I guess I was incorrect. He was on Team Azubu.
Yeah, I don't know what he's been to. He was like, I mean, he got like second
He was great.
in the GSL. I think he got second to MVP in one GSL, if I remember right. It was the finals. And game 1 was like one of the coolest games I've ever seen on Daybreak.
GSL
It was
August, he
super close.
made it to the finals after defeating Polt, Genius, Xenio, Alive, and Trickster, then lost 1-4
Yep.
in the finals to MVP.
And he looks so good in some of those games. Some of the games, like, at a certain point, he just collapsed. And the last couple of games of the finals were kind of just like a rout.
Yep.
But he had an absolute performance.
Speaking of going to the finals, Hellions trying to track down some Jones Guitarcheese has some
Definitely.
roaches here.
I mean, but they've
Trying to
already
figure that
gotten
out.
7 worker kills. I think they've done their duty here.
Yep.
They are going to be finished off here, but great moves by Top. One thing about Top is he's known as a super macro player.
Yeah.
Not as in like he won't do cheese or aggression, but like his macro is impeccable. He's like, I mean,
It's kind of
he's like
something
Bomber.
that
He's like,
it's
like a
kind of
Bomber. Yeah.
something people like automatically assume with Korean Terran players, the good ones.
But there's a difference.
Right.
Yeah.
It's Top is great with his macro. Just like for you guys who maybe are new to StarCraft 2, look at that top right. Basically, no pun intended at all. Basically, how low they keep their money, kind of.
Yeah. That can be deceptive though.
Sure.
Like
In
I
a
think
general
that's-
sense.
That's true for like normal people. When you're judging between one top Korean and another, that doesn't actually show that much because
So, are you talking about the 2 top Koreans?
yes, all the top Koreans.
So that's the Chinese player.
No, the Korean top.
So we're talking about the Korean top or the Chinese top?
The Korean top against other top.
So the
Koreans.
Korean top players, got it.
When you look at them, like it's more of a difference between do they queue their marine up Like their next wave of Marines, is it? I mean, you can't even see with this overlay, but is it queued up when the Marines are right here? Is it queued up when they're there? Like there's, you know, there's little subtle things that you won't see just by looking at the top right. That's like, and a lot of times it's intentional, saving up money for a next wave of units.
So
there's all kinds of weird stuff.
If you're looking at top and you're considering top Koreans,
yes.
I mean, when you're looking at the top right, it's just you can't just assume that they're on top of their macro if the top right numbers aren't as consistent as you think. That's a pretty important concept to understand, I think.
If you want to be a top player.
Right.
It's very important.
Exactly. So, again, you guys really think about that as you're watching this game and how Top is controlling his units. It's just top control that you're ever going to see, really. I mean, he is. It's Top's control, right? So it's like...
Absolutely. We'll see if he's on top of his game or not as this progresses. We do have Guitarcheese massing up a ton of roaches. He's clearly, I mean, he's cut drones at 65. Clearly going for a 1-1 speed roach timing.
Yep. And
this is a great map to do on. If you look at Polar Knight, the third base, look how open his third base is. Like, I'm actually still moving the screen around, and there's, like, no obstructions at all, right? It's just, like, roach heaven.
That is more, it's more open than a 24/7 McDonald's.
Yes. They don't even close for, like, half an hour cleaning or just if the manager
it's always,
gets sick.
It's super open,
so
and the roach is going to love it. They go through the drive-thru every single day.
Upgrades are completing.
Here they come.
Now.
No.
Now.
Okay. Is this enough?
You gotta bring it overlord. You gotta bring it over serious so you can shoot high ground units.
Oh, good point. Great. Solid tank position. And he can just lift the command center. Doesn't want to lose too many SCVs.
You know, I think the Guitarcheese is very happy with how this went.
This is a scary looking road.
I mean, the thing is, this isn't like he has to win the game with this.
Why
still has 65 drones.
Why not sprint to the main here?
He assumes there's a wall. Now he's gonna check it, but I think it's a mistake to try to come up here.
At this point, yeah. So you would rather him just back up?
There's no need to like waste units because the thing is I mean he might actually win the game here, but if you lose your roaches here, Terran relands your command centers are back on 3 bases, right? If you back away, you just come back in again where they try to retake the bases and keep forcing them to use their mules in their main. Like, he was up 90 supply, and now he's only up by 30, right?
And he was making roaches behind that, which is mildly strange to me, because it's one of those things where I think if I'm doing a massive roach attack, you know, maybe droning behind it and then proceeding tech, stuff like that. But, I think it's not a big deal, not too big of a deal. It's just an interesting decision.
I mean, if you didn't lose all those roaches there, those plus his roaches here could easily just continue to deny these 2 bases, right?
Yeah.
And he could bring in an overlord. He could just avoid this area. He could just shoot the command center, force it lift, and circle around, and then force a natural lift as well, right?
Right.
And if you keep doing that, Terran just can't build units. I mean, they just like, I mean, what's he going to mine from the main?
You just never let them really get those additional bases established, and then you're just setting yourself up nicely because you're going to have a great economy back home. They don't really have the ability to pressure, and you have an eye on them the whole way. Speaking of ability to pressure, Marine drop happening in the main base of Guitarcheese, targeting down the layer, and he does not want to lose that. Remember, he just made a lot of roaches, but they're taking out the rocks in the top right, trying to sprint back, and the layer is gone, immediately remaking it at the natural expansion and making 12 more roaches as that was happening.
You know, this was such an awesome, well-executed build by Guitarcheese, but yeah, I mean, once he lost all the roaches, now Top has map control. I mean, Guitarcheese is still in a decent position. I mean, he's up 65 to 33 workers. Don't get me wrong, he's doing great. But there's 3 mules on top of that as well. And the tech is there's no lair. That means he can't even build the infestation pit that he wants to build, the Hydra that he wants to build, maybe even the Spire that he wants to build.
I mean, he's kind of stuck on roaches. I mean, sure, they're going to have 2 mildly soon, but it's one of those things in ZVT where roaches don't scale incredibly as the game goes along, and it's a natural thing. It makes sense.
He's going to want to do another attack on the third base.
Yeah.
At least force it to lift again. He's got creep. If he forces it to lift, the creep alone will.
That's true. That's great.
There's great creep spread,
yeah.
But it's tricky because he has to leave some roaches back to defend now as well. There's these, you know, very, very annoying drop ships. And I like how Top spreading them out, right? The double drop is great. It's a surprise factor, get the lair before he's ready. But then, the more you spread the drop ships out, the harder it is for him to split roaches appropriately. And look at this, the roaches, they're playing catch when they're defending, but they're being forced to stay at home. And that's what Top wants, because like you said, roaches get weaker as the game goes on. So Top can buy time to get a big army, he's happy. And here comes another drop. The Queens are all alone. They're not going to be enough. The roaches are all massing up for another attack. A drone, that's not going to help the Queens. Queens going for the medevac, though. If they get the medevac, they do.
Good pick off.
Yes, that's huge.
Now, he could have transfused that queen, but that's just me being nitpicky.
Yes.
One of the things that's
he was
very
focused over
difficult.
here.
Yeah, it's very difficult to do in StarCraft 2 when you're focusing on a million other things.
And, I mean, once the medevac's down, he can clean that up
Yeah.
without too much of a problem.
Yep. So, utility of these roaches. I feel like he's just trying to look for cost-efficient trades at this
deny
point.
the third as often
You don't
as
want to
possible.
necessarily directly engage his Marines and Marauders and medevacs with the tank supplementation. You're just going to lose your roaches kind of a thing.
Yeah,
So,
with this many siege tanks. Oh,
trying
but
to be a
if he can
ninja, sneaking by. I think
Yeah,
that's,
if he can avoid these 3 tanks, I think that's... Oh, he's getting a little too close now, but...
not terrible trading.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not optimal, but at least he's killing some Marines and Marauders.
Yeah, he's getting some kills, but not... Yeah, he's actually doing okay. He has to back away now, but he needs something else in his army. The medevac count's growing, the Marines are growing.
And he's making roaches behind this. I don't see an infestation pit. I don't see a spire.
Not even a Hydra Den, which is unfortunate. He still has a lot of resources. He's still on 4 bases against his opponent's 3.
Yeah. And meanwhile, from Top's been doing a very solid job, kind of trying to get back into this after that early roach
If
aggression.
you look at the worker count, I mean, it's up to 40, which normally is up to 40 to 18-minute mark. But considering where he was and how many SCVs he's lost throughout this game, he's done a great job. Now, trying to push this creep back as well. One thing Guitarcheese can do, when a game's kind of been slowed down, I mean, like we're 18 minutes, people have what you think they'd have at 12 minutes because of all the trades and the mass attacks. That actually benefits a Zerg player because Terran will mine out their bases very, very fast. And if you look here, the main is pretty much all but gone. The natural is almost gone as well. If he can continually like force the third to lift, or even just prevent a 4th base, Terran will mine out. Once he has to drop all his mills on his 3rd base, it'll mine out pretty darn quick. So Guitarcheese, if he keeps forcing trades, keeps a Terran on a small army, the army's small enough that roaches can deal with it. If it never gets to the 140, 150 supply mark, you can make roaches work as long as the supply count stays small. Oh, it's a triple drop.
Supply is getting up there, though, from Top. So we'll definitely keep an eye on this. He sees this medevac drop heading into his main base, trying to scurry back to deal with that. Meanwhile, +3 weapons already on the way from Guitarcheese. Not an infestation pit, not a hive in existence. So it's still a pretty good distance away from 33 for Guitarcheese. Some roaches trying to get some solid trades here. Decent trades going on. Meanwhile, trying to deal with that drop in the main base. But these roaches should be cleared up. SCVs kind of huddling in a corner there.
Yeah.
Saying, stay away from me.
This is actually a pretty good roach attack, honestly.
Oh, yeah, I'm
it is
okay
very
with
smart. When you saw the triple drop,
19.
the Terran splits up the army. That's where the Zerg can all of a sudden say, oh, it's small enough I can fight it straight up now over here. So he sent a lot of his roaches to attack here. He sent enough back to defend that he needed to.
Yeah.
Now I didn't all of Hydrodus as well, and Hydrodus are going to allow him to maybe even kill Sir Command Center if he gets a good attack going. And he's got creep all the way up.
That's so important when you're going Roach Hydra too. It's not like it's the Ling Muta composition where you're not worried about that enhanced mobility. I mean, it's nice having the great creep spread, but when it's
mostly
roaches
for banings at that point.
Yeah, like with roaches and hydras, like you're gonna be walking around the map a lot.
And you want to be able to
see
either retreat or run down Stimbile.
Sure.
And you can't do that off creep.
Yeah.
If you try to run from Stimbile off creep, you're just gonna.
All right, Hydra's coming up here, gonna try to split up, try to dodge those tank shots. SCV's being pulled here for Top. He's in desperation mode. Guitarcheese up 172 to 130. Also a drop happening. I think that was the 3rd base or natural expansion there of Guitarcheese. Continuing to extend up into the main base. Great tank positioning on the high ground. Can you click on those? I want to see what are the kills on those tanks.
Well,
Maybe we can look at that later.
Yeah, yeah. They're not going anywhere. The 4th base from Guitarcheese is being taken down.
Yep.
He forced a lift on the 3rd, but he's taking some brutal damage here. What does he have to defend? He's got a queen.
How many drones were lost? I feel like a lot of drones were lost there.
I mean, we're up to 35, 38.
80 SCVs.
Yeah, SCV's been being massacred all game. Of course, that's the nature of the timing attacks.
Yeah.
He's going to force him out there, but
that's a close game we have here.
You know what I love? He spreads the creep so he can't even land the orbital. We've got, and these are all roaches and hydras. These aren't even speedings. Look at these kills.
21 and 14.
And you know, there's some more. I think we're leading these guys up at the top. That guy's 8.
Tanks are the MVP so far, and they are very instrumental in any comeback. They can be one of the most cost-efficient units you can make in a game of StarCraft 2.
But you know, Top's not really mining anymore.
He's not.
I mean, this is what he's got. I mean, he needs to get the orbital landed, but the creep. Guitarcheese done a great job of pushing that creep out. He's coming in again for another blow.
This is a great concave here from Guitarcheese. Again, tanks from the high ground still doing a lot of damage. Top trying to stim forward, trying to save those tanks on the low ground, and Guitarcheese is going to be shoved away. Nice move there from Top.
Absolutely.
Questionable decision there to engage there for.
Yeah, he didn't have enough roaches.
It wasn't his whole army. Like, he has a lot of his army still in his main base there.
I mean, in a
which
way,
makes sense, but
yeah, these drops could end the game if he doesn't.
But it's like when you're making the decision to try to engage in that location. I guess he's just trying to keep the third down. He knows his opponent isn't mining, so he's trying to keep it that way.
Yes. But
guess.
now top is back to mining. Worker count is down to 24 to 48.
What a scrappy.
There's enough mules though.
Uh-oh.
Oh, here comes some drones. You know, Guitarcheese is on 5 bases, but he doesn't have the drone count to really utilize all 5 bases. So.
And he's losing hatcheries left and right.
Yeah,
and having to rebuild those at this point is starting to become very straining.
If he can kill a third, he's in good shape. If he can't, this could get very ugly. If you can get some of those medevacs, that'd be great too. The tanks are exposed now. One tank goes down. The Bio's trying to be healed, but there's too much DPS from the Zerg. Another tank goes down. Only a few units left from Terran. Oh, the tank's on the high ground. Need some great damage. There's no Bio left.
Oh my
gosh. Down, the Hydra is
they're
taking
still
out
alive.
medevacs.
Somehow they're still alive. Taking out a lot of medevacs. And of course, the drop still being annoying. I think that drop has taken out literally 3 hatcheries so far.
Yes.
Which is mildly impressive to me.
It's taken out, well, the top right and then the 5th. Oh, it's coming back to the main. There's enough roaches here. A lot of drones are going down, and he's only down he's at 40 drones. Okay. He's got to continually deny this third base. If we look at top, he's very, very soon going to be mining out of this location. So, Guitarcheese just needs to continually deny this third base. I assume that top is probably holding on to his mules at this point.
Yep.
No, actually, he doesn't have too many. I mean, yes, he needs the Marines. Oh, very smart from top. Moving to the back base, and that's something that maybe should have thought of earlier, but he's doing it now.
Okay. Where do we stand here? I mean, this game is a pretty cool game, first of all.
It is.
Gosh, so Terran isn't mining. He's trying to take the base to the bottom left. Zerg, I think he's mining on the right-hand side. His natural might be drying out a bit. And he's got his natural's pretty much gone.
This is actually his third is gone as well.
So his top right is his only mining base.
Yeah.
And he's keeping the roaches there. And here's a nifty little drop here from top just to be annoying again. Probably going to pick up fairly soon.
Oh, you might be. Yeah.
Too many roaches there. Where do these guys go from here? What are their main focuses?
I mean, top is just trying to keep him busy because now this base is about to be up and running.
Sure.
Top is going to have an economic advantage actually for the first time this game. Because it's one base to one base, but there's 3 mules on top of that base.
Yeah. That's all you need is Terran. Like, it's such a refreshing
feeling. I think
feeling.
Guitarcheese has figured it out. He's like, there's no base here. He's got to have a base around the back door. Yeah.
Unless he found a different dimension.
I do love going for infestors here.
Yeah, they can be cost efficient. Now, he doesn't have a lot of gas,
he needs a way to deal with the medevacs.
Oh, he just spent all his gas. Okay,
yeah.
6 infestors.
I mean, as your bases mine out, you'll end up with extra gas because these bases, the gas is still mined longer than the minerals. So going for a gas-intensive unit like the infestor is a great choice when you're getting to this stage of the game. And if you can chain fungal the medevacs, chain fungal the bio outside of tank range, things like that, that's what he's going to be looking to do. Be more cost-efficient using fungals to supplement his army.
Okay, Guitarcheese trying to identify if there's an extra base. These medevacs still being annoying. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, maybe build a sport crawler, but there's so much area you really have to cover that these medevacs can sneak in. It's like one of the most difficult decisions.
That's like if you have 80 drones, 5 bases.
Sure, that's one of those things. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know if he has the economy right now. I mean, maybe it still wouldn't hurt to get maybe 1 or 2 to help zone out the medevacs. So you know where they have to go.
So they can't just do whatever they want.
Yep. This is nice and annoying. I like this.
Did he ever get Burrow?
No.
I think that'd be a nifty addition. But
yes.
Again, it's hard to squeeze in such a scrappy game like this. Maybe.
I mean, it's easier than like 18 sport crawlers.
Right. Because, Burrow is nice, and Infestors is great, and then you can be annoying with Roach Burrow.
And at this point, Tyrion's going to be using mules for sure.
Yeah.
Here come the fungals.
Uh-oh. Great fungals there. The Infestors might be what Guitarcheese needed. Can he close out top here? But a great concave here from top. Look at the spread on those siege tanks. Absolutely perfect positioning. Infested Terrans being thrown in as well. And Guitarcheese is actually going to be shoved away. Top stays alive, but more Roach reinforcements coming forward. But he's choosing not to engage. Energy gone on those infestors. And look at that, a Marine drop happening at the same time, denying it an extra base from Guitarcheese, and top is still very much in this game.
Uh-oh, medevacs.
Oh, and they just ran out of Ignite after. Oh my God,
no.
That is huge.
20 supply of units in a scrappy game like this is,
is
momentous. Oh, that's too many siege tanks.
They're kind of bunched up too. He might throw some infested Terrans out.
No, he doesn't have the energy. That many siege tanks is going to kill everything, man.
There's a lot of roaches coming in.
Oh, actually, wait, are there enough roaches?
God, this is so close. The tanks.
Closing the distance right next to
More
the
roach
tanks.
reinforcements. There they come. Big concave on these tanks, but more Marine reinforcements coming from top. Such a back and forth game, and Guitarcheese is going to have to back away. And he lost a lot of infestors there.
He did.
And that's probably the most important part of this game right now, is keeping those infestors alive.
And remember, okay, he's taking it. He needs another base. There was just one on the right side, got taken out. He's grabbing this one. Top, of course, at this point, he can just fly orbitals. Exactly, he can just fly the main orbital up here. Meanwhile, this base is mining really well for top. Of course, no reason to get to his refinery. He's got plenty of gas. Just really needs to focus on the marine production, and he's got plenty of gas to add his tanks and medevacs as needed. Guitarcheese, I think he's been looking so good for most of this game, but it's starting to look good for top now. Here we are. This drops that with very well. Guitarcheese, okay, he's got a few infestors. I think he needs. Losing those infestors was rough.
Yeah, I was like, I always wince whenever you're sending infestors towards tanks, and that's what he was kind of doing there. So like, he threw some infested Terrans, but those infestors did not need to be there. Zerg players at home, if you're making infestors, keep those guys alive.
This is the point in the game. Like, how often did you see what Guitarcheese did there?
I missed it.
So he was just skirmishing a few different Marines, but he pulled back the
weakened roach. Just
right?
to make sure, because every unit is so important.
It's like a 32-minute mark. When do you micro a single roach there?
Nifty fungal.
Yeah, the
and
second
the queen.
one. That's absolutely worth it.
One
yes,
Marine saying, "Get me out of here!" And then he's like, "Wait, pick me back up. Wait, I'm dead."
2 fungus for a medevac.
Yep.
Every unit you can kill, especially considering all the Marines in there, it's definitely worth it.
Wow.
Now, top has actually taken a 4th base here. And if you look at the units lost, you can see top's been a lot more cost efficient than Guitarcheese. But Guitarcheese
39,250, 25,000. And this is a lot to do with Guitarcheese. Like, some of these decisions he's making, he's sending a bunch of low-tech units to try to, any of these ridiculous concave that top is getting. Guitarcheese has had the economy where he can make those trades. He's been at an extra base or two the entire game. And this is due to top just having great positioning and able to receive those attacks with grace, in a sense, able to fend them off.
A great drop there. Wow, he's distracting the Zerg by clearing up creep over here.
That's a lot of roaches.
And I mean, he should
Don't get cocky. Don't get cocky, top.
Meanwhile, though, this base goes down. A great pickoff for top. That was one of 2 mining bases.
Oh, a lot of tanks.
Oh man, look,
he's got to keep those tanks alive. Like if you're kind of trying to.
I don't know if Guitarcheese, what he can do from this point.
You think it's toast for him?
It's looking well.
Like, as top gets higher in supply, like his supply is more efficient right now. I think.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. As long as he controls his units properly, doesn't throw away anything. As long as he can still push across the map and make sure no counterattacks do crazy base trade type scenario.
This is a great comeback from top.
Yeah. Wow. And it's one of the. Oh man.
Top's no stranger to comebacks either. There's that. One of Fruit Dealer's most famous games was actually in the first GSL, and it was in the semifinals against top. And it was top who got the amazing comeback against them. But this time, he's turning the tables on the Zerg. Could he be overextending, though? There's a lot of roaches coming in.
That's a lot of tanks, though, and they're decently placed. Marines still alive. Medevacs. Look at all the medevacs in the skies. There's about 8 or 9. And look at the supply. Top taking the supply lead for the first time in this game, up 151 to 88. And Guitarcheese is going to have to back up. Hatchery going to be targeted down. And top looking super good. This is how you come back in StarCraft 2. Great play there from top. Guitarcheese feeling pressure time and time again to try to close out his opponent, and his trades were just too cost inefficient, made some bad decisions here and there, and top was able to take advantage.
I mean, it's one of those things where it shows kind of why I didn't see Roach Hydra much in Wing Celebrity. If the Terran gets a high tank count, it's like they get massacred, right? So I loved it, but at first, you know, he kind of got a transition to maybe to Brood Lords.
So
going up to, I think, playing defensive. After the first attack, playing defensive on like 4 base straight to Brood Lord could be great there, with infestors. Or his constant attacks could have worked, but his drop defense needed to be a little more solid. Some of the attacks needed to back away a little bit sooner. Overall, I mean, this would be nitpicky. Overall, a great game played by Guitar. I mean, he played against a very top Korean player.
The top Korean player.
The top Korean player. And Guitarcheese, an American up-and-comer, went neck and neck with him for 32 minutes.
So a main thing in that game was like my instinct, like right when he did that first attack and I saw roaches in that production tab. That's kind of that mentality of, I want to kill my opponent, I want to keep killing him.
Yeah.
And not necessarily adding on drones. No, I don't think it is. It's just, it's one of the, I feel like Guitarcheese just kept trying to win with this low tech composition that's very cost inefficient, rather than doing an earlier potential transition into additional bases, additional economy, more securing with static defense with spore crawlers. more advancement in tech, so on and so forth. But Top did a great job being in the correct position at the correct time, because if you're not in a good position, how do you make that comeback happen anyway? It's going to be very difficult. So, guys, that was just game 1. You're watching Guitarcheese versus Top in WCS America. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more StarCraft 2.